Welcome, comic lovers. Old comic book guy coming at you with another comic haul. This one is from Monster Comics. It is not the new stuff. This is the old stuff in the back. He's always buying collections. He genuinely has bought so many collections that he just kind of puts them in the back half the time, and they don't end up coming out right away till he processes them and stuff like that. So he gets like chunks that he gets to process, and then he brings them out. Of course, through that process, he's always filling his dollar bins and his $2 bins. But sometimes he comes across some better stuff. And so I picked up some stuff. I'm going to share it with you. And we'll kind of play it by ear. So this is Phantom Stranger, number 7. Pretty cool. This is actually the 1971. So this would be volume 2. It's the writer's Robert Kanigher, and then the art's Jim Aparo. Cover, of course, is you don't know. I don't know if you can recognize that. That is Neil Adams' cover. So the cover's Neil Adams. At this point, the editor is Joe Orlando of this particular book, and the executive editor at DC was Carmen Infantino. This has a team up with Dr. 13, so pretty cool. Then. Strange Adventures number 217. This came out in 1969. This is the beginning of just running a ton of reprints throughout the rest of the series till it ends in like issue 244. The cover on this is Neil Adams, editors Julie Swartz. So the stories, there's 2 stories that are reprinted. One is Strange Adventure, the one by John Brome and Murphy Anderson, which is the first appearance of the Atomic Knights. And then the second story, which is from Strange Adventures 117. And then the second story, or maybe it's the first story, I don't remember which one came first, but it's Showcase number 17, which is the first appearance of Adam Strange, and that's Gardner Fox and Mike Sikowski. You're going to hear them again. They're actually the creators of the Justice League of America, so pretty cool. And then I got, speaking of, Justice League of America number 47. This is the series that ran from 1960 all the way through 1987. The writer is Gardner Fox. The art is Mike Sikowski. The cover's Mike Sikowski and Joe Giella. And Gardner Fox and Sikowski are the creators of the Justice League of America. So they're not the creators of each character, but of the team itself. This is an early JLA, JSA crossovers with the floating heads on the side, which we know I like the floating heads. I also got issue. This is issue 133 from 76. It's written by Jerry Conway. And I know you can't see that because the piece is torn, which is okay. It was a $1 book, so I don't really mind. The art's Dick Dillon and Frank McLaughlin. Covers Ernie Chan. Editor's Julie Swartz, and the executive editor at this time is Jeanette Kahn. So this is 76. That is when she took over. I think she was like 28. She was pretty young, and one of the only female, maybe she's not the first, but I think she is the first head of a comic company. And so what's interesting is, and this doesn't have it, or you can't see it, this does. So if you look here and you look at this DC symbol, it says National Comics, because technically it wasn't like you're thinking DC Comics. It was really National Comics. That's the company that was publishing them. And Jeanette and I don't think I have any with the bullet. I do not. She, or at least not in this stack. So she created the DC bullet, or had the DC bullet created. And she really saved National Periodical Publications. It had been purchased by Warner Publications earlier. And Warner Brothers, they were happy with just reprinting stories. Stuff like this, where it's all reprints. So that was actually part of the publisher's process. They were totally fine. They were just going to republish, so they kept the licenses for everybody. They weren't going to put out new stories. They really weren't. They weren't considering it. They were really thinking of ending people's contract, letting people's contracts pay out, and then go. So Jeanette Kahn basically saved DC. She changed National to DC, introduced a royalty system that paid bonuses based on the sales, and it paid bonuses to the writers and artists. So that would make the writers and artists want to get their stuff purchased more, their sales up. So they were more willing to sell their stuff at cons, or promote their stuff at cons, not necessarily sell it, but promote it. And that was huge in actually showing Warner Publications that DC still had life. And this is 76, right? Every Marvel and DC have both fought with a lot of stuff. Jim Shooter, I would say, really kind of saved Marvel from that sort of problem by taking on all the different things licensing he did with Hasbro and stuff like that. So this is just a big part. And she was really foundational in that. Besides being a female editor, big editor, the executive editor or editor-in-chief or whatever we're calling her, of DC, she was one of the first females of the time, and I think she was the youngest of all of the executive editors. So pretty cool. Let's move on to some Marvel goodness, and we have the Uncanny X-Men. This is issue 168, 1983. Chris Claremont, arts Paul Smith, covers Paul Smith. Editor on this is Louise Jones. That's what she's listed as, and Danny Fingeroth. She really wasn't Louise Jones anymore. Louise Jones married Walt Simonson in before this, so early 80, and this is 83. I want to say right around the 80s, 1980. Sprite here, Kitty Pryde. If you didn't know, that was her code name, was Sprite. Later it would become Shadowcat. She rejoins the team, and this is the first appearance of Madeline Pryor. So, pretty cool. First appearance of Madeline Pryor, who would become the Goblin Queen and all sorts of other stuff, and was basically a copy of Jean Grey. And then we have Amazing Spider-Man, number 150. It's a big 150th issue. This came out in 1975. Writer's Archie Goodwin. The art is Gil Kane. And Gil Kane and Frank Giacoa. I am so bad with that one. Giacoia, and then Irv Wastanabe, I think, are the people on the cover. The editor was Marv Wolfman. This is follow-up after the battle with Jackal and a spider clone in Shea Stadium. Doesn't even exist anymore. That's weird. Shea Stadium was demolished in 2009, I think, is when it was taken down. But Pete's unsure if he's the clone or not. So, like, which one's the clone? That whole thing. And then, of course, this would lead into the spider clone stuff years later. It's pretty cool. I love that Archie Goodwin's the writer on this, and Gil Kane, right? And a lot of people think of him, associate him with Green Lantern, and rightfully so. But the reality is that Gil Kane has been around for a long, long time. He's one of those Golden Age guys. that was still around in the Silver Age. And then we have Avengers number 24. This is from 1965. Stan Lee was the writer. Don Heck, Dick Ayers were the art. Covers Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers. Continues the fight with Kang, which was in the previous issue 23. And then we also have issue 33. There we go, 33. Again, Stan Lee, arts Dan Heck and Jack Kirby, and then the covers Dan Heck. And then it continues fighting some of the Serpent from the last issue. This is the first time Black Widow helps the Avengers. She's not an Avenger yet, but it's the first time she helped. And interestingly enough, the Scarlet Witch, which you see there, is actually not on the team. I don't know if Don should have made that. Maybe he should have made that Black Widow. But I don't know if that was just a unprepared or just a rush. So yeah. Anyway, Scarlet Witch isn't in it, but Black Widow does make an appearance helping the Avengers for the first time. And then issue 50 of the Avengers. Pretty cool. This is Roy Thomas and John Buscema. Covers John Buscema and Sam Rosen. Hercules leaves the Avengers at the end of this issue. Some interesting stuff about this. So let's see. Bill Foster's around in here. So probably Stan's the one who created him. He might even be in here, right? I don't remember exactly where he shows up exactly, but he is in this one. Bill Foster's around. He's not Goliath yet, right? Well, and he's not Goliath in this, and I don't know if he makes an appearance in this, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is because in the back of this is a letter by this young man you may have heard of, Tony Isabella. And so Tony Isabella would later turn Bill Foster into Black Goliath. He would also, for DC, create Black Lightning. So pretty cool. He was a longtime writer on Ghost Rider 2 for years, and had done a lot of stuff. So, but his first stuff he wrote was in here. I don't know if it was the first time. He was writing to a lot of comic book companies and a lot of times to Marvel. So this may not be his first printed work, but definitely pretty cool. And of course, this is 50. So John Buscema was the regular artist on this, on the Avengers. Not through all of Roy's run. Roy was on it a lot longer as a writer, but John Buscema was a regular artist from issue 41 through about issue 85. There's a couple issues he wasn't on, but his younger brother Sal was, so that's pretty cool. And Buscema started working in the comic book industry way back when they were still timely, so back in the 40s. Which I think is pretty cool. And there he is. So pretty neat. All right, so that was the haul. Again, this is just some books I picked up. These are pretty much fine, very good fine. I think there might be some a little bit better. There's of course some not bad, but like fair. So which isn't great. I mean, that's not even good. But there's some rough ones, but most of them weren't very much. Obviously, the ones that were VG fine were more money. And plus, of course, the older the book gets, right, it doesn't really matter. The condition, I mean, it does, but the condition, then, even a fine book is still kind of expensive. So I don't remember what I paid for it. Probably about $30 or so. I don't think anything here was more than $30, but maybe. No, I don't think so. There was, like I said, a couple dollar books, some right around 30, so each. So those older ones. So that's okay. Not something I'm going to drop all the time. So I'm always like looking for the cheap stuff. But once in a while, you got to pay for some of the better ones to just get some good books. Monster Comics. It's in Tempe, Arizona. That's where I pulled this. That is my regular stop, my regular shop. I do buy from other places throughout the valley, but they're my regulars. Anyway, some stuff coming up. I figured out what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it in a for the 100 subscribers, basically to thank you guys. I'm going to do a comic chat where I will do something where you guys submit, or not submit, but put in a comment or something, and that'll tell me you want to be part of that contest. And I think I'm going to give away a print. I'm going to do this on Father's Day just so I can put everything together, and that gives people time. Plus, grandfather, I want to share, and I want to have this ready to go. I know most of the collectors out there are going to want to have that time, so that's the day I think I'm going to do it. And I really appreciate the community here, so I want you guys to just know that. And again, if you like the videos, please hit subscribe. Please like the videos, all those sort of wonderful things that we ask you to do. Also, take care of each other, okay? Have a good day.